So over the past few days, there's been some new Nintendo Switch 2 rumors, leaks, news as some people calls it, even though, that's just wrong. News is like verifiable information that actually happened, but I guess if you watch like mainstream news channels nowadays, like did that stuff really happen? There's slants, it's opinion pieces, but that's a discussion for another day, or really probably never, because I don't care about that. I care about video game news, video game speculation, video game rumors. Now, people have been hitting me up like, yo, RGT, why haven't you talked about this stuff? There's a bunch of videos going out from different content creators, different website articles popping up. We want to hear your perspective on this because you used to be potentially a Nintendo YouTuber, but now, of course, you are the king of emulation. Go watch the mini PC video from yesterday. It's a banger. But yes, we're going to talk about some of the things that I have not talked about since my vacation last week, and I'm just going to give you guys my thoughts on them and my personal feelings and opinions, because really, most of this stuff is very speculative. It's all based on information, insider information that could be potentially true, could be potentially not, but let's just get into it at this point. So the first thing people have been asking about is the price point of the system, because all of a sudden everyone seemed to know how much the Switch 2 was going to cost, and that potential price point is $399.99. Now, where's this information coming to us from? Zippo. If you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you know that I am not a fan of Zippo. Like, I'm sure they're a fine person, but when it comes to reporting news and information and rumors and leaks and crap like that, I think they're just hogwash. I think they make stuff up. They do safe predictions, because anytime you talk about something that sounds a little bit unique, it never comes true. It never comes true. I mean, just look at the track record. Type Zippo Nintendo into Reddit search history, and you'll see all these failures. But according to Zippo, the system could potentially cost $399.99, and it's kind of like you're basing that on nothing. In my opinion, which is just my opinion, this is being based on just looking at the marketplace. I think anyone can look at the marketplace right now, look at the price points of the Nintendo platforms that are available, look at the price point of Sony, look at the price point of Xbox, and be like, okay, $399.99 is definitely a real possibility. You have a standard Nintendo Switch for $300, you got a Switch OLED for $350, the next generation system, which will obviously have more bells and whistles than the current generation system, more power, more everything. We assume, we don't really know what this system is, but going under that basic assumption, then yes, there's the potential that the system could cost more money. I think the one thing kind of holding me back from that is Nintendo usually prices themselves very competitively, almost to the point of where these systems are usually cheaper than what the competition is doing, pretty much since the dawn of Nintendo systems. I mean, think about the Nintendo 64 situation and stuff like that. That system came out at like $250, while the other systems came out at $300 and $400 with the PlayStation and Sega Saturn respectively. So Nintendo's always been kind of doing stuff like that. GameCube, Wii U, like, I don't know. Like, sure, it's a possibility, but this is speculative. This is based on nothing. No inside sources, no anything. And you can't tell me any different, because I really won't believe you. So price point, if you see someone saying that this is a confirmed price point, they're talking out their ass. Sorry, Zippo. I still don't like you. I still don't like you taking shots at me on your website, but whatever. It's all good. It's just video games at the end of the day. But the other two stories are coming to us from a different source, and these stories are coming to us from Xbox Era's Nick. Now, I'm not sure if he's a fan of me. I know one time I commented on one of his tweets, and he was like, how did you find this tweet? And I was like, oh, somebody said it to me. Like, I don't know. People take this stuff very seriously. I'm just here to have fun. But I think Nick's decent. Nick's been right about some things. Nick's been wrong about some things. It's an ebb and flow. People are going to get things right. People are going to get things wrong. But I feel like Nick has a potentially better track record than what Zippo has. And of course, we can always trace things back to Nick. So based on some things that Nick has been hearing, there's a couple things I want to talk about. First off, we're going to talk about Metroid Prime 4, because Nick said in the Xbox Era podcast that they're expecting this game to be a bit more open than other Metroid Prime games based on information that they have received. Also, the game looks absolutely gorgeous, supposedly, but the open areas thing is catching a lot of people by surprise, but I'm not really quite sure why. When you play Metroid Prime games, I mean, the evolution of the Metroid Prime series, the area's always got a bit more open. Like, Metroid Prime 3 was definitely more open-ish than Metroid Prime 1 was. So I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility with how, you know, the story is going to play out, how the game is going to play out. The game looks visually pleasing. Look at Metroid Prime Remastered, which is what I'm probably playing on the screen right now, because God forbid we know what Metroid Prime 4 looks like, but Metroid Prime Remastered is gorgeous. Like, this is one of the best looking Switch games, and it's a GameCube game with HD textures added to it. But I mean, just the level of detail in Metroid Prime 1, even if you play the GameCube version of the game, like, these games always look stunning. That's what made Metroid Prime, up until Metroid Dread, the #1 selling Metroid game of all time, because of the fact that it was one of the best looking games on the market, period. Look at the PlayStation 2, look at the Xbox, look at Metroid Prime on the GameCube. It was like the best looking game at that time point. So it makes perfect sense for this to be a bit of a quote unquote hardware pusher for the Nintendo Switch. Now, is this still a Nintendo Switch game, or is there going to be a cross thing with Nintendo Switch 2? Is the Switch 2 going to be backwards compatible? I don't really know. Nobody really knows. So if anyone says that the system is going to be backwards compatible, once again, talking out their ass, because nobody knows that. Not even people with dev kits. But the other story coming to us from Xbox Era's Nicholas, hope I can call you Nicholas, was definitely a bit more eye-opening for a lot of people, because he is potentially hearing that there could be 2 SKUs for this new Nintendo Switch 2 system, an all digital SKU and then a physical medium SKU. Now, obviously, there's not going to be, you know, the death of physical media with the Switch 2. They're going to have a cartridge slot on it. It's going to take some sort of physical media. We don't know if it's going to be like the exact same thing as we have with the current Nintendo Switch. Are they going to use 3D, NAND, you know, stuff that we've talked about before on the channel. But I think the 2 SKU lineup definitely caught a lot of people by surprise, because when you look at, once again, the competition, each one of them had 2 SKUs that were, you know, one of them was digital. With the PlayStation 5, it was the same exact system, just one system had a disc drive and one did not. But you saved a good bit of money on the disc-less system comparative to the disc drive. Of course, it was $400 versus $500. When you look at Xbox, they kind of went in a different direction with it. The Xbox Series X has a disc drive. The Xbox Series S does not have a disc drive, and it's also not the same power of the Xbox Series X. It is a potentially, you know, it's a weaker system. It still plays, you know, all the games fine, but it's weaker. You know, it has less internals built into it as far as maximizing things like performance and graphical capabilities. So really, we have 2 different types of 2 different SKUs, because usually back in the day when it was different SKU sizes, it was all based on the memory size. You know, you had systems that had less memory. You might have had 200 gigs on one system, 50 gigs on another system. You know, that was all that the real difference was when these systems came out. But with this current generation, there's 2 distinct different monikers happening here. There is the, you know, the removal of physical media, and then there's the removal of key components to make a potentially weaker system. So which way, if Nintendo does do a 2 SKU system like Nick has been hearing, which way would they go? I definitely think it would be the PlayStation model, with the physical edition just being more expensive than the digital edition. Now, you know, you could say these cartridge drives and disc slots, like, are they really that much more money? I mean, let's face it, companies don't like you buying physical games. I saw a tweet from someone. It was the funniest thing to me. They were showing off a physical Nintendo Switch indie game. They're like, I'm supporting indie developers. It's like, no, you're not. The indie developer released that just for like the core audience. They want you to buy the digital edition of the game. They don't have to worry about packaging. They don't have to worry about cartridge manufacturing. They make more money when you buy a digital version than if you buy a physical version. This is established. This is actual news. This is factual information. So these companies don't want you to do physical media anymore. They don't like it. They don't like being able to, you know, you buy a used copy of a game or something like that on a secondary market. They don't get any profits from that. They don't make any money off of that. They make more on a digital sale. That's the reason that digital is on the rise. That's why companies don't like backwards compatibility. It's all for the consumer because they don't want to look like the bad guy. But at the end of the day, if these companies had it their way, there would be no backwards compatibility. There would be no physical media. Everything would be on a digital platform. So I say all that to say, could this be the first Nintendo system ever to not have any sort of physical medium on one of the SKUs? I mean, that's the way the market's going, man. That's the way the market is going. Digital is on the rise. There are tons of drawbacks to digital. I completely understand it. I'm not here advocating for digital. I do like physical stuff, but at the end of the day, you have to realize that this is just the progression of the video game industry. You can't stop it. It's unstoppable because companies want money. Companies want to make profits at record numbers and stuff like that. This isn't, you know, a kumbaya, friendly, haha, we're a video game industry underdog story. No. Video games are the biggest entertainment medium in the world, bigger than Hollywood, bigger than the music industry, bigger than all these other industries in the world. And to make more money off of people, you want those digital sales. So I definitely think Nintendo could do a 2 SKU model with this system, just even to test the waters. Like if the digital one doesn't sell, whatever, you just abandon it. You know, you had a limited run of it and then you focus more so on the physical version. But when you look at digital sales of software for Nintendo Switch games, especially first party games, while yes, they are, you know, not as high as physical, but they're on the rise, man. They're on the rise. So I think this is going to happen sooner rather than later. So yeah, that's the latest and greatest in Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo related content in general. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to give me all your feedback in the comments section down below. How do you see this playing out? Do you think it's going to be $400? Because, I mean, maybe. Could be. What do you think about Metroid Prime 4 being a bigger, more open experience, and the 2 SKUs Switch 2 system situation? Do you think this is a potential move for Nintendo? Because I definitely think it is. You know, you can make yourself more attractive at a price point with a cheaper system that people could get into your ecosystem with. Most of these youngins don't give a shit about physical media. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.